The Tweed Kenya Mentoring Program is an enduring relationship between Tweed Shire on the New South Wales Far North Coast and the Siaya region in Western Kenya, where many villages have no reticulated water or electricity. Created a decade ago, the program has established water filtration systems and other health initiatives in a number of village communities in Siaya. Its water kiosks, jigger control, community education and other health initiatives have brought considerable improvements in the well-being, mortality rates and general quality of life for many Kenyans.
The changes the program has bring into the community are a lot. After Safewater 1 and 2, the cholera outbreak and the typhoid reduce drastically. The women will spend the whole day going to search for water, and it's not enough and it's not clean.
At the same time, the schools in the area have also had access to clean water.
In fact, the number of children in school has increased.
So when we went in, the idea was not really to solve the problems, the water problems in the area. The idea was basically to show the people and also the government, this is, there's a problem. Instead of complaining that, you're not doing anything, why don't we go in and demonstrate?
The origins of the Tweed Kenya Mentoring Program date back to 2003 and a chance meeting with a former General Manager of Tweed Shire Council and a social worker from the slums of Kenya's capital, Nairobi.
A leader and I both ended up at the Third World Water Forum in Kyoto in Japan in 2003. We were both there representing our organisations in a poster competition. There were 160 successful applicants, and we ended up side by side presenting our posters for 2 days.
Yes.
Did we not?
Yep, 2 days it was. Yep.
And it was interesting in that our leader kept on coming over and looking at my poster and scratching his head. And in the end I said, mate, what's the problem? And he said, well, I can't understand what you're doing here. We had a magnificent photo taken from Tobolgan looking up at the Tweed River with Mount Warning in the background. And our leader's poster was one of people very much at the other end of the scale fighting for survival in one of the largest slums in Nairobi. Kibera. And our leader said, you have no right to be here. What possible problems could you have? Look at our situation. We continued to talk for those 3 days, and on departing I said to Alita that we need to have an ongoing relationship with you. You could learn a lot from us, and we could certainly, I'm sure, learn much from you. You want to get to where we are at now, and we want to ensure that we don't end up where you are, because Lake Nairobi, as it was in the 60s, I think is now a landfill site.
Nairobi Dam.
Nairobi Dam.
Yep.
And I think a leader produced photos of boats sailing on Nairobi Dam in the 60s.
The Tweed Kenya Mentoring Program has since established 4 water kiosks in the villages of Manyasi, Tinga, Gona and Ochilo, and improved toilet facilities at a school in Kubar. While TKMP is coordinated by Tweed Shire Council, it is funded by donations and corporate sponsorship and is run entirely by volunteers who give their time and expertise to work with the communities.
As a project manager, it gives you the ability to understand different cultures, different ways to tackle situations. In the village itself, there's a lot of negotiation. It's not just what's best for the project, it's what's socially acceptable.
It's been a real opportunity to get involved in something that has meant a lot to a lot of people, both in terms of the on-ground outcomes, as well as the sense of community that's been developed between Mooloolaba and the villages in Kenya where we've worked. At a personal level, I travelled to Kenya and saw a part of the world that you wouldn't necessarily choose to go to. The rural villages aren't on any tourist maps. They're a part of the world that we usually only see in news footage, and to actually form a personal relationship with people who live in those countries and understand really what makes their lives go round.
This was never a charity. This was never about what the Tweed could do for a marginalised community. That was one part of it. The other very important part of it from my perspective, and it's why Council resolved to get involved, and it's why Council resolved to put funds in, because by exposing our organisation and our community to the life of a marginalised community, both through the program and by bringing Kenyans to the Tweed and putting them out in the Lions Club and the Rotary Club and sending them around to the schools, it undoubtedly gave a large number of our employees and a large number of community members a greater appreciation of the very fortunate life that we have in the Tweed. And I've often used the example, not having the biggest flat screen TV or not able to afford mag wheels for the Commodore suddenly is not the biggest problem in the world. And from the employer organisation, if you have people that are more contented at home and in their own life with where they are and the position that they have in their society and their own recognition that there are people much worse off than them, then clearly they're going to be better employees.
Volunteers live and work with the communities to involve and train the locals, encourage a sense of ownership, and develop self-reliance so the projects are sustainable.
When we started it, we involved everybody in their community because they know that this is their project, they own the project, and they know that the project will change the life of themselves and their children. So they love the project, they participated fully in the project.
Its success in bringing clean, safe drinking water and boosting the health and quality of life for many people in Siaya has also been achieved through partnerships with many other organisations, including Kenya Health and the SkyJuice Foundation.
We recognised that there was a common goal with both our organisations to provide clean water to overseas countries such as Kenya. So we've developed the Skyhydrant based on technology developed in Australia, which produces the same quality of water that is available to first world countries. The Skyhydrant will remove all pathogens from the water. So it's taking out bacteria and viruses and all other disease-causing organisms.
The key thing from an engineering perspective that the KMP has provided is the water kiosks has been a major breakthrough. One problem we have in Kenya is that where we have got dams, we don't have a simple form of water treatment. The technology is simple and it can be managed at the community level.
We've never been able to say with any certainty that TKMP will be around forever, and we've always recognised that the scale of the problem is bigger than anything that we can solve. And so the ultimate aim has always been to, as I said before, give people the tools and the knowledge and some strategies and some examples of what they can try and achieve for the long term.
And the program has grown. A leader or I or no one else knew that the program would end up where it is today. There's been some fluke, there's been some tragedies, there's been some sadness, but there's been a lot of achievements. And it's a wonderful model. I mean, for $30,000 we deliver a safe water project.